matchups here. Goblin versus DIMAGA. DIMAGA has pretty quickly become one of my favorite players from this team league.
Yeah, I love him as well. Like he's become a fan favorite in the team league. We cast him whenever we can in these online events as well, like the Sparkling Tuna Cup, like the ESL Open Cups as well. So as much as I love the Platinum Heroes, like how can I not cheer for DIMAGA? There's gonna be a little bit of bias going on. The other thing that I want to say is that you were talking about how this match is still really important for Platinum Heroes to win, and I do agree. And it looks like they do as well because they have finally fielded Migs after quite a bit of a hiatus here from WTL.
Yeah, they haven't been using him as much as I think they should, but looks like with the business end here, they are going to be fielding him, and that's great to see. Really excited to see him later on. But first up, we're going to be having Goblin coming up against DIMAGA. So two very strong European players down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. For the Platinum Heroes, this is the Croatian Protoss Goblin.
And spawning the top left-hand corner from the land of Ukraine, it is the Red Zerg, DIMAGA. All right, and as we have been casting quite a lot of these players, I think we can both say with some certainty that DIMAGA has a playstyle that he is very fond of. We spoke about it a little bit when we were casting Mondo, but likewise, DIMAGA thrives off of that 3-base saturation. More often than not, he is one to drone up to 60 to 69 drones, cut workers, and just amass nothing but Lingbane Roach Ravager. And there are very few Protoss players out there that can survive the onslaught that is DIMAGA.
Yeah, DIMAGA has a very strong, albeit predictable early game, where he is just looking to survive into that mid game. He's quite good at it as well, so I don't think it's a huge problem that it's a little bit predictable. But Goblin as well is a very clever player, and I think if there is a vulnerability here, Goblin will have ideas for how to punish it. Otherwise, I do feel like it's going to be more of a survival sort of thing, where if you can get up into a higher probe count, if you can take very efficient fights, whether that's with just fantastic blink micro or with disruptors or something like that, it's probably going to be the path to victory here for Goblin.
Yeah, I like that you bring that up because if there was a player to maybe, I should say, the way that DIMAGA plays isn't a secret. You know, everyone knows. I feel like most players should know his tendencies and what he enjoys in ZVP and what he does lean towards. And I do think that Goblin is the kind of player to study that, to prepare for his match, and to come in with a plan. I like to think so anyway. So my eyes are definitely on Goblin this game. I'm curious to see how he does or what he brings to the table here against DIMAGA specifically.
Yeah, definitely. And Goblin is a player that he does have some stylistic approaches. More so to the other matchups. I think in this matchup he's usually playing fairly standard, but he likes his Phoenixes, he likes his Blink Stalkers as well.
Yeah, we can definitely make use of them in this matchup. The Blink Stalkers more than the Phoenixes, but you know there is a time and place for them as well, as we're getting into some pretty standard openers. Hatch Gas Pool from DIMAGA, Gate Expand from Goblin. We have that Stargate on the way. That will be the tech of choice, and from here we should be getting into Blink Stalkers. I don't know how often Goblin is really one to mix things up in the direction of Glaive Adepts, for example.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that happening, but I feel like in the first game, especially against a player who goes quite early into roaches, it would be quite a risk.
Yeah, I think so as well. So again, we should be seeing just our standard Oracle setup into our third base. First Oracle is on the way. But of course, we'll keep an eye on the production tab to see if the Goblin does decide to go for a faster Twilight Council. But no, the probe is in position, and third base should soon be taken.
Yeah, going to be taking that front third base as well, which is interesting. But yeah, from here, just going to be Oracles coming on out, very standard stuff. Nothing too crazy. Not seeing Void Rays, not seeing 2 Stargates and massive Void Rays.
That's actually pretty important to point out because we've been casting a bit of PvZ today in WTL, and we've actually been seeing a lot of Void Rays mixed in a lot of those PvZs. So yeah, I don't know if it's like something's in the water or just the flavor of the night. It seems to be the Void Ray. But for the time being, it looks like Goblin is just, playing standard.
Goblin didn't get the memo, but that's okay. He is going to be Sending these oracles out for a little bit of harass. Finds an undefended mineral line here. Just dips in behind where the queens can't quite get to him. So it's gonna be a fair few drones going down despite that 4 almost coming out.
Yeah, exactly. 5 workers in total. Very nice damage done here by Goblin. The Oracle in the main base able to skirt on out as well. And we have the 3rd Oracle about to hit the field. Not just a 3rd, that's a 4th Oracle in production.
DIMAGA's drone count seems quite low. I don't know if it's just the losses he took or if there might have been a supply block at some point. It seems like it might be a tiny bit lower than it should be, but either way, he is going to be going into that fast +1. This has become a very popular retort to this kind of style, but yeah, we can see some of the unique aspects of Goblin's play coming through already. I do remember this now. He does like to get extra oracles, and there's already a 4th on the way.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And we'll see if he keeps on going from there. We have seen players like Hero play with 4, but then we got 5th Oracle in production. My God. And we have actually heavily delayed our tech as a result. A lot of the gas was spent on these Oracles. That Forge and Twilight Council is later than normal here for Goblin.
Yeah, I like it though. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, Goblin's a player who likes to be very aggressive with his harass while playing a pretty standard macro game behind that. Usually it's going to be something like Phoenixes in PvP or PvT, so I do think Mass Oracle is a nice way to play that same sort of pacing in PvT.
Yeah, it feels like a very safe defensive way to play, because he's gonna be harassing with 3 oracles and he has 2 more back at home to defend against any kind of Ling aggression. And DIMAGA is gonna be sending those Lings towards that 3rd base, but again, he's gonna be running into oracles into a wall of stalkers. Goblin is perfectly safe back at home, and sure, this is gonna hit a bit of a later +1 and Bling timing, but I mean, if he doesn't want to push out with his stalkers, he doesn't have to.
Yeah, Goblin looking solid here. Looks like he is going to be moving out. Starting to think about taking a 4th as well.
Yeah.
We've got that Twilight on the way, so we should have either Storm or Archons. And he's just going to be setting up for probably just receiving the aggression of DIMAGA. DIMAGA already nearing that 70 drone count, which we don't really see him going above too often.
Yeah, exactly. He's got 67 for now, and he may be squeezing out a couple more drones, but for the most part, I believe DIMAGA is done. And there we go. We have 6 more Overlords on the way, 7 more Overlords. This is just for roaches, Papi. DIMAGA, he's done droning. Oh, actually, he makes another wave. He makes 5. He's crazy. Oh my God.
Crazy. He goes up to 66. He's lost his mind. Yeah, he's just going to be freeing up that supply because it is time to party. It is time to pump those roaches. And Goblin going to be going into a fast storm here. I do think that's a really interesting approach. It's going to be fantastic against Banes if DIMAGA's making a lot of Banes versus roaches. Maybe not as effective, but I think anything that ups the efficiency of your army is going to be really fantastic in this situation.
100%. As yeah, that storm is being it's on the way here for Goblin, and it can have a really interesting dynamic here with the Ling Bane Roach Ravager of DIMAGA. Meanwhile, DIMAGA is actually saturating his 4th base. This is something we don't see too often. He's got a 5th on the way as well. And even though DIMAGA did free up a lot of supply to max out, he has been squeezing out even more workers.
Yeah, looks like he is respecting the setup of Goblin here, especially with all of those oracles. I can understand it's a bit of a scary prospect, but Goblin looks like he's going to be settling in on 4 bases, getting nice and comfortable because that fleet beacon is on the way, +1 air on the way as well. And you know, this is what I was telling you, Light. These Zergs, if they're just going to stay on 70 drones, if they're going to be battering your bases over and over again, what else can you do?
It's true, you know, DIMAGA, he's just forcing this upon himself. He's forcing the Sky Toss. You know what can Goblin do?
Goblin's he's just trying to survive.
He's just trying to survive, Puppy. Speaking of, that's going to be the name of the game here. DIMAGA, he's going to try and do some critical damage before the Sky Toss comes into play, because nothing he has shoots up. He's not ready for any kind of Sky Toss, and DIMAGA is maxed.
Yeah, as you're saying, just going to be sending it here on this base down to the south, where not too heavily populated with batteries and cannons, but a very craftily placed stasis trap. He's going to be taking out a lot of these Lings, providing a good force field. Another massive stasis trap, massive storms as well. This defense from Goblin has been going just about as well as it could have, and it's still pretty tight.
Not gonna lie, if it wasn't for the stasis on the roaches, I think DIMAGA would have broken this base. I think he would have had enough to overwhelm a goblin, but no, the stasis was clutch. The roaches come out, but there isn't enough to support them. But we have more lings and roaches on the way. This fight isn't done.
Yeah, I mean, we see 13 probes going down regardless, but that's okay for Goblin. I mean, he's just going to be on these 4 bases, so he will have the room to just resaturate, especially if he starts mining out his main. As we do see those first few carriers, they are on the way now, and this window for DIMAGA is rapidly closing.
Yeah, and I think this is such a smart way to play against DIMAGA. As you were saying before, like Goblin, he hasn't really been too aggressive. He pushed out earlier to clear up creep, but he has never threatened any of these bases. He's never wanted to fight the army. He's been very defensive and just turtling up with 4 bases into Skytoss, into carriers. I mean, again, DIMAGA, he's remaxing on Lingbane Roach Ravager. This will not help at all against the carriers.
Telling you, this is what you do against the Unga Bunga Zergs. You have to get the carriers. It's not our fault.
You can do it. You can do it against all Zergs. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah, you just don't need to.
Aye. A 5th base is going to be denied. The carrier, I believe, was just revealed here to DIMAGA. Now he has to make a choice. We should be either throwing down the Spire, and there we go. The Spire is now on the way for DIMAGA.
Yeah, Spire on the way, so he will have that transition into Corruptors. Massive storm blanketing the entire army of DIMAGA. I mean, those roaches are still going to be okay. They're going to push through. The Banelings getting on top of the Stalkers as well. So we can see how effective these mass roaches are, especially with the armor. Takes carriers a long time to work their way through them.
It does, but that was a big loss for DIMAGA. You can see his supply plummets here as the fight does end. Zealot Rambai going to be hitting here his 4th base as well. A couple of drones going down, keeping the attention of DIMAGA back at home, and he's still just buying time to get into his Spire, to get into his Corruptors, and by the time he does, how much are we going to have in the air for Goblin?
Oh. Yeah, that is the question, as Goblin is going to be moving out now, looking to put that pressure on, and this is one of the weaknesses of the way that DIMAGA is playing this, because he is playing on such a low-tech style and being so aggressive with it. It does take him a long time to make these kind of transitions, so there is going to be a window here for Goblin to attack.
There is a massive window, and we'll see if he can really pull this off. Meanwhile, one Baneling does roll into the 3rd base. 8 probes go down. Nice damage done here by DIMAGA. Meanwhile, he's looking to deny this 5th base. He cannot let it get up and running. Looks like he will force a cancel.
Yeah, one Baneling, that's all it takes. David Kim, hello.
Feels David Kim, man. As the Lings get to surround on these Archons as well, the Banelings trying to roll into that mineral line, but it looks like they will not make it through. And once again, DIMAGA throws away a lot of supply. Oh.
Yeah, Goblin making some pretty clutch defenses. I have to say, despite him setting up as best as he can for these defense, they are very close. Like, he is only just holding each time, often taking quite a lot of probe damage along the way as well.
Yeah, exactly. And now he has weathered through the worst of it. Now he can counterattack, and we can see DIMAGA doesn't have an army. Oh, sorry, he doesn't have a bank. Without a bank, he cannot muster up an army either. We have a couple of Corruptors on the way, but I don't think it's going to be enough. We have 5 carriers here in his natural.
Yeah, the army has arrived. The Corruptors have arrived as well. They, of course, don't really have any upgrades either. They will eventually be able to take these carriers out. But, oh, the Archons, they are underneath the Corruptors. And Corruptors just get melted by Archons. GG is called. I love the way Goblin played this.
GG, well played. I agree. I think specifically against the playstyle of DIMAGA, that is how you should be approaching him. And we saw that as a result, the first fight was the most important one for DIMAGA. And I do think that if it wasn't for those stasis traps, if the 4th base of Goblin had gone down, we would have had a very different game.
Yeah, 100%. That came so close, despite massive stasis traps, massive storms as well. Pretty much every time he defended, he was landing huge storms, and it was still really, really close. I think if there's anything that he could change about this, maybe disruptors instead of storm, just because of how heavily into roaches DIMAGA plays.
That's the thing, like, when it came to those fights, the storms were good, but because of how roach heavy the army of DIMAGA was, they weren't amazing, right? They weren't really what was making the defenses here for Goblin, and something like disruptors or even just earlier immortal production, I think would benefit him a lot more as we are going to be getting into game 2.
Yeah, I mean, a full double storm was pretty much just getting those units down into the yellow, into the orange. But game 2, we're going to have Ancient Cistern. This is a map that we saw DIMAGA almost take out Maru on. So
Yeah.
I do like this map for his style as well. I feel like this is the kind of map where if you do get map control, it can be very difficult to stop you from just expanding everywhere.
Yeah, definitely. I think DIMAGA really thrives on Ancient Cistern. The attacks, the surrounds, the engagements. Like he's quite fond of this map, so it makes sense for him to go for Ancient Cistern out of all the other maps available. And it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Goblin to really batter down the hatches. You know, DIMAGA, he's going to have multiple avenues of attack, multiple different kind of targets as well as we're loading into this. And in the bottom left-hand corner for the Platinum Heroes, the Croatian Protoss, Goblin.
And in the top right-hand corner of the map for Berserker, this is DIMAGA.
Here we go. Oh. Is DIMAGA the only player that we've seen with a green screen? I just realized he has a green screen. He's like a streamer.
Kind of,
yeah.
I feel like it's not deliberately a green screen though.
You think it's just the wall? His wall is just green?
No, I think it might be a screen, but I think he might just be like screening out the rest of his house.
Oh, okay. Yeah. True.
Divider. Maybe.
He's do you think if the green screen ever falls down, there's like a harness? There's like we have a dark setup.
Like
yeah.
Cool setup back there.
Oh god. There's like chains on the wall.
Oh
no.
There's whips.
Yeah, there's whips. There's like a table set up, you know, with straps as well. Yeah. I can dig it. As we're getting into game number 2, and so far nothing too crazy. Likewise, DIMAGA not going for an early pool or early gases. That's just not who DIMAGA is. That's not who he be. Just forced to take the unnatural natural.
I don't even know who DIMAGA is anymore. If what you're telling me is true.
He's a Zerg player, Poppy. He's a Zerg player. What do you mean?
Okay,
what are you talking about?
I never really thought of him this way, but I suppose you're right.
Yeah, look. If Dark, we've seen a glimpse into the private life of Dark, okay, and really, he's the one who's leading the way. You know, we have to follow suit. When I say we, I mean Zerg players.
Yeah,
I mean, you can as well if you want. Yeah.
No, I'm okay.
Are you sure, Poppy? Are you sure? Come visit Sydney, Poppy. Come.
Oh boy.
Oh, God.
Terrifying. As gonna be Stargate coming down once again from Goblin. I don't expect to be seeing Goblin change things up too much. I think DIMAGA has shown that he does very often play the same style. So I don't think it's too bad a bet for Goblin to just go for the same thing again.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think we have cast enough of DIMAGA to know that even if his opponent knows what DIMAGA is doing, that doesn't mean that they can stop him. You know, DIMAGA is just so good at executing and really committing to his aggression as well. So going up to 3 base or even 4 base saturation for DIMAGA, going up to around 70 or less workers is kind of what he is known for. We'll see if Goblin adjusts. We were talking about before about how maybe Storm wasn't the best tech path for him, and maybe he would have success with something else.
Man, that Adept really put its life on the line to kill that one Ling. He did not like that guy.
He didn't. He got it.
Yeah, he did. So it's worth, maybe. As Best Oracle going to be dipping in here. Looks like, once again, DIMAGA going to be a little bit late on that spore. Definitely looks like it's something that's deliberate for him, that he does try to cut the timing on that spore a little bit.
Yeah, as we can see, shout out to the Observer, there are 0 spores on the map here for DIMAGA. He's pulling a bit of a chappy, pulling a bit of a laser, if you will, just trying to defend with pure Queen. It can be a really greedy thing to do, but there we go. The first spore is on the way, especially against a player who makes mass Oracle. As we can see, Goblin continuing that Oracle production once again.
Yeah, Goblin this time not going to be going too crazy with them. Did delay that 3rd Oracle for a little bit just to get that tech up on time. So you were pointing it out in that last game. He did delay his blink and +1 quite a bit to get faster oracles before. On this map, I think just because the queens can sit so close to the edge of the dead space, it does make sense to not commit that hard to that kind of play.
Yeah, definitely. I do think that Master Oracle has its place and has advantages on some of the other smaller maps. We'll see if a Goblin does agree with that and does stop Oracle production. We do have the third one on the way, and yeah, he's going to be stopping on 3 for now at least.
Yeah, stopping on 3 is going to be continuing to shark around, get that scouting. Blink and +1 on the way, so very standard stuff coming out from him. DIMAGA, likewise, just playing super standard, getting that later Rich Warren, later Lair as well, as you typically see versus Stargate. I feel like he has a very refined early game.
I agree. I think DIMAGA's a really good player to kind of like base yourself off as well. Like if you maybe want to play this like heavy aggressive three base saturation play as a Zerg player, do you think that DIMAGA is a good player to try and emulate or to look over just because of how solid he is with it?
Yep. Okay, and Goblin going to be playing, yeah, as we were saying, the same kind of style. Getting those earlier gases to go up in tech, going to be getting the Twilight, Templar Archives as well, so expecting to see Storm once again. Pretty much just the exact same game being played by these players.
Yeah, except of course, remember Goblin, he is refining his build a little bit more by getting into those upgrades in this tech a little bit faster just because he only made 3 oracles, but the overall outlook or the overall game plan is the same for Goblin. He's going to be moving out with some of these stalkers for now, but again, he's just looking to clear up some creep. He's not really looking to commit because he is expanding behind this and teching up, so he doesn't really have too large of an army.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a poke. This is similar to what he did in that last game, just clearing out some vision, clearing out creep as well. DIMAGA going to be mixing it up, putting a cancel on this 4th base. Really well timed with the Lings there.
Yeah, if you remember the last time he tried this, there were 2 additional oracles back at home to defend, and DIMAGA could not touch the 4th, but this time there were no oracles, so he is able to force that cancel.
Yeah, that's right. Gets a cancel. We do see Storm on the way as well as that +2 in charge for Goblin, so everything looking like he does want to kind of sit back on 4 bases once again and be the defender. Let DIMAGA push in on these low drone counts and try to take the most efficient fights that he can while he checks up.
Oh, exactly. And we just see Goblin being active once again. Oh, those Zealots are a little bit out of position. They could be surrounded, but no, we're going for the base itself. It looks like we should be forcing a second cancel here on the 4th base of Goblin.
Yeah, another cancel. Meanwhile, back at home. Oh, wow. That was clutch. Goblin's so confident in his defense here. But meanwhile, back at home, DIMAGA is going to be holding this aggression from Goblin here on a very modest 62 drones. I feel like, wow, that's really early to be cutting. I think it was kind of forced by Goblin's aggression, but this does put DIMAGA on a time to get some damage.
Yeah, but he will get damage done because with this massive Ling counterattack, he may not have gotten the Nexus the first time, but he will get it the second time. This time it will be a kill. This time we can't cancel as the Nexus does complete.
Yeah, Nexus going down once again. A Goblin going to be looking for some more damage with those oracles. Some really nice micro. One of them going to be going down, but I think he really did get the most that he could out of this.
Yes, he gets 11 drones here for that 1 oracle. 12 drones even well worth it for Goblin. He does a lot of economic damage, and DIMAGA didn't have a lot of workers to begin with. He's going to have to re-drone. This will slow him down.
Yeah, I mean, Goblin can't fully mine with Olivia's probes, but he's up to a very healthy 85 probes. So once he does get that 4th up and running, if he can get that 4th up and running, my goodness, that is a huge army coming in. No, the High Templars with the Storm getting caught out there.
Oh, that was disastrous, as now we do see some of the transferring workers going to be going down. Or do we even have a standing army? There's going to be no overcharge here at the 4th base because the Nexus is still not done.
No overcharge, no Storm on the Banes, no stasis traps. This is not where Goblin wants to be right now.
Yeah, and there's no way out for those workers at the 3rd base either, as the Baileys, they do roll on in. It looks like +2 melee is not done, but 28 workers did go down, and DIMAGA, he's backed off only for the time being, only to remax and push in once again.
Yeah, DIMAGA had to get that damage. He was down on 54 drones. So he really did have to get something done there, and that's exactly what he's done. So Goblin now in a really rough spot. He just got hit in that one little moment where he was a bit out of position, was a bit weak before he could get his static up at his 4th, and I mean, obviously getting those High Templars caught out is very unfortunate.
It really is, and thankfully Goblin has replaced those High Templar. He's slowly gathering up that energy, and hopefully they're going to be ready here for the next assault, because DIMAGA hasn't droned. He's still staying on a low 57 workers. Don't expect him to drone up much more from here. He's still making nothing but Ling, Bane, Roach here, and he's pushing in again.
Oh yeah, the next wave of Banelings has arrived, but oh my goodness, insane storms. Those Banelings, all of those Banelings pretty much died exclusively to storms, and that could be the kind of thing that Goblin needs to get himself back into this game.
Yeah, what an efficient trade here from Goblin. DIMAGA just crashes into a wall of Protoss, and he was all in with this. There is, oh god, so little to work with, and Goblin, he doesn't just hold, he pushes this back.
Yeah, that fight was not it. You can see the supplies wildly swinging in the favor of Goblin. DIMAGA kind of leaning back in his chair a little bit there, realizes the situation he's in. And I love this addition from Goblin as well, adding in some Immortals here. I think that is extremely strong against the composition DIMAGA's going for.
Yeah, Immortals, they want those Roaches. The Roaches, they just crumble before their might, and we can see Goblin can counterattack. There's almost nothing left here to defend. We have a couple of Roaches trickling on in, but there is no standing army. GG gets called, and Goblin takes the 2-0.
GG. He knows that last one got a little bit dicey, especially with those Templars being caught out, but he gets the result that he is after, and Platinum Hero is off to a great start.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we were being a little bit critical of Goblin going for the Storms in game 1, but here in game 2, they actually came in pretty clutch. If it wasn't for those Storms, those Banelings would have made a difference in that fight. There were so many of them that went down for nothing.
Yeah, super efficient fight, that last fight before he went across the map, and with that, we do have the 2-0 coming up into Mix vs Spatz.
There you go. It is going to be Vindicta going up against Spatz, the Shaft of Voltron himself. Or at least he used to be. The one thing is known that, you know, Voltron, it comes together, it can also come apart and maybe help out some other. Yeah. You're an animal, Pop. That is what I was saying there, yes. Yep, and you know what? He has attached himself to an eagle instead, to the Platinum Heroes.
Let's go. That's the most American thing I've ever heard of.
Oh god, that's an eagle, right? The Platinum Heroes. That's a
yeah, and that eagle's packing heat.
Oh god. Ay. And it's going to be a pretty important one, because Vindicta is up against the ace player of Berserker eSports. Spatz is not someone to scoff at. Spatz has been putting in a lot of work for his team, for Berserker. So, yeah, this is going to be a pretty intense TVP.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Spatz has shown some really fantastic games. And for Vindicta as well, this has been a matchup that has been sometimes a little bit difficult for him in the past. I do think he has improved his TVP recently, but it's still always going to be a tough task. It should be a fantastic game either way.
Oh yeah, it should be amazing, should be beautiful. There's only one thing on my mind right now, I'll be honest.
Yeah. I wish I could draw, because I would draw that.
Oh god. Oh no. I need to send this clip to Mix. I need to let him know, Pop. You need to let him know. Does he? Yeah. I'll leave it at that. I won't go any further. I do love what Emperor Frugal said in the chat though. We got a Big Mac in one talent, we got an AR-15 in the other. Beak is full of freedom. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go.
Let's go. And yeah, we're gonna be having Royal Blood to start off on. I do think this is a really nice map for the Terran, just because it's short rush. I think it's equal shortest rush in the map pool with Neo Humanity, and it's also a no ramp low ground. So this does mean that first push of the Terran is going to be very difficult to deal with, especially if you can get between the natural and the third, cut those bases off from each other. It becomes very difficult to deal with something like that.
Yeah, we've seen that time and time again from players like Kura, from players like Bjorn as well, where they can just wedge themselves in and just push that into a victory. And Vindicta usually does kind of, look at these players as some role models, does take from them, does learn from them, does execute their builds as well. So, yeah, definitely going to be keeping our eye out for that, depending on how the openers do turn out. Bearing in mind that Spatz is a really tricky player as well. He's not the most standard of European Protoss.
Those two players are actually exactly who I was thinking about. I remember Beyond doing it really well. He puts
I remember,
it's like a minefield in between the two bases.
Yeah.
It's a very strong way to play. It was on Royal Blood as well.
Yeah, it was. I think it was an OC King of the Hill when we casted him at the time.
And I saw the replays. Yeah. Tasty.
We remember the games, Tommy. We remember. No. It's kind of like when we think about Ryung and how amazing he is in TVZ.
When he beat Dark, I'll never
I know what you're talking about.
On Tropical Sacrifice and Data Sea.
I'll never forget Bjorn in on Royal Blood as well in TVP. Just time and time again. Not just pushing his way in TVP, but also going Raven against Phoenixes and keeping the Raven alive. Crazy.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's allowed now. I saw Hero Marine do it, which means it's officially allowed.
I've seen a lot of Terran players starting to do that more and more often this past month, I should say. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those funny things where I feel like there's these things that are meta for a really long time just because you get told that it doesn't work. And then you see someone do it and you're like, oh yeah, I could probably do that. Like that looks fine. Whereas it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, if you make a Raven against Phoenix, people are just like, well, the Phoenix just killed the Raven. But it has been shown that you can at least make that very costly.
Yeah, exactly. Even if the Raven goes down, the Protoss player may lose a lot of their Phoenixes in the process as well, and that kind of makes it worth it. And then they have so much less to support their Colossi, so much less to defend. Like things can get really chaotic in TVP, so it's really cool to see a lot of players adapt. Even now, after so long, how the matchup just evolves over time and continues to evolve.
The other thing is, it is Vindicta's Raven, so if that Raven is, weighed down, if it's got a bit of weight to it, that of course means there's more force, there's more power.
Yeah,
you can just knock those Phoenix around.
Yeah, exactly. It takes nothing from no one.
As here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the map for the Platinum Heroes. This is Vindicta.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood for Berserker eSports, it is Spatz.
It's the hood.
Oh boy. Yo, yeah, this is crazy. This is a Vindicta that we don't get to see too often, but he is not just not smoging. He has no hoodie on, period. So he can't smoke. The effort that it would take to smoge is actually, it's too high, Papi. It's too high.
Too warm. Maybe he needs like a light sheet to wear as a hood.
Excuse me?
A light sheet.
Light?
Like a bed sheet or something.
To cover up?
Just as a hood, because you have to, have to smudge to be like a good Terran. But it has to be lightweight. It can't be like because it's too hot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just take it off, Papi. Take the shirt off.
Okay, I see. Like a toga.
yeah, exactly. I'd watch that.
Of course. As we do have Vindicta being nice and careful as he often is, sending that first scout across the map here.
Yeah, we do see Spatz trying to be as annoying as possible, delaying the CC for a little bit, but the CC is thrown down in the end, not delayed for too long as we get into these openers. Of course, Vindicta going for a Rax Expand, a very economic opener here in this TVP.
Yeah, it looks like going to be pretty standard stuff from both players. Probably just going to be feeling each other out for that first game. And yeah, I can't fully remember how I've seen Spatz play in the past. I'm guessing that I'm just going to say because he's an EU player and because of his like rough MMR, I'm expecting to see Phoenix Colossus at least one of the games.
Yeah. When it comes to his play, to be fair, I don't think I've seen too much of his PvT either. But no, he's gonna be going for Twilight Council opener. When I think of Spatz, what comes to mind is ninja bases and DTs.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. He,
Okay.
I think a couple of weeks ago, I say a couple of weeks ago, like earlier on in the season, I think he played a PvP against Hero and he went for a ninja base on this map. Actually, it's crazy. And
This
I
map,
think he
I
went
feel
for
like it's really cool to take like a corner ninja base, just because people
yeah.
expect you to take the gold as a ninja base.
For sure, you can. Oh god.
Yeah, as that
Yes, CV died.
SCV finishing off that CC is going to finish it just in time before it gets taken out by the Adept. So not ideal losing that, but getting to start your orbital on time is really important. So not the end of the world there, as we do see that extra robo, extra gateway coming down for Spatz as well. This still has the potential to be a 4-gate blink, which is very strong on maps like this where you do have a lot of room to blink up to into the main.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that gateway count. I apologize. I was dying as I saw the SCV just like drilled the last bolt into that CC just with its dying breath. It was beautiful. It was very cinematic. Oh, great.
But no, it looks like it's not going to be 4-gate blink. And it's just going to be a very standard 2-gate play coming out from Spatz, and Vindicta sending in that Hellion should be able to get a full scout of everything that's going on here. So beautifully done there. Looks like he has been studying those QO replays.
Oh, there you go. The Hellion does make it all the way into the main base. Is even going to be able to shell away at some of these pros, but it should be hunted down by these Stalkers. As you were saying, only 2 gates, so a very economic opener out of Spatz. Going to be focusing on his 3rd base, which means Vindicta will have the freedom to get into his own build. He can play some StarCraft, Poppy.
I'd love to see it. As, yeah, there we go. Going to be throwing down some pretty quick extra Raxus there. Looks like he's not too worried about getting all in here. And, yeah, behind this, Spatz just going to be macroing on up pretty comfortably.
Yeah, exactly. You see the Reaper dipping in as well just to get some extra scouting information. If you saw earlier, he was trying to Reaper grenade himself into the main, but the wall was solid enough. Vindicta was denied entry as the mine jump is headed towards the natural, but no, Spatz has eyes on this. He already has a Stalker in position and will be looking to make sure it doesn't get too much damage done.
Yeah, Vindicta is being very sneaky with that drop, sending it right around the outside there, but it does unfortunately get caught out anyway. From Spatz, we are seeing a very early Templar archive, so I wonder if he's going to be looking to play, yeah, okay, with that charge going down as well. This could be a Storm style that he is playing.
Yeah, we don't see this too often. Every now and then players like Classic, the Koreans, they do whip out this Charged Archon Storm style. It's very refreshing just because it's, you know, it's not Phoenix Colossus. Feels good. So always appreciate whenever we do see it, whenever we do come across it. As the Prism is moving out across the map, Observer does have a full vision of the main.
Yeah, Prism going to be rocking up here to put a bit of harass on, and that can be very annoying to deal with. Especially before you have Stim, there's not really too much you can do about this. You can just try to limit the damage.
Yeah, exactly. And so far, a lot of economic damage is being done. 5 SCVs do go down. Stim is still not done, and the Prism gets the hell out of there.
Yeah, great damage there for Spatz. Vindicta likewise going to be sending that Raven across the map to start getting that turret harass going. I do think Vindicta really shines when he can start forcing multitask out of his opponent. He is an extremely fast player, so the more that he can make things chaotic for his opponent and just get constant harass going on, the better off he's going to be.
Yeah, and we'll see how that does go on as we do have the first auto turret here into the main base. A couple of pros are going to be going down. I'm sure Vindicta is looking for an opening for that mine jump. If you recall, it is still there outside the natural, but no, the Stalkers do not move. They still stand strong in position.
Yeah. Importantly, though, it is going to be keeping those Stalkers penned back, which does have its own value. But yeah, behind this, we do see Spatz adding on Immortal, adding on Storm, just trying to bulk up his army for this push that is coming now.
Yeah, he is bulking as we speak. We do have Stim now done, and with that, we're going to be able to shoo away that Prism. The Prism does survive, though. Does save all of said Stalkers, as Vindicta is getting ready for his move out. But as he moves out, he is spotted by a unit of Spatz. Is aware of Vindicta, at least being a little bit more active.
Yeah, nicely done there, and it is going to come down now to how the micro is played out between these two players. There is Storm on the horizon. We have a few of those High Templars as well, so it could get pretty scary. It's definitely going to be important for Vindicta to recognize this and take his time.
Yeah, I mean, he just scanned the third base and he saw those 2 High Templars, so I'm sure he can piece it together that Storm is now done. And upon seeing that, we see Vindicta is pivoting around. He is rotating over towards the left-hand side, looking for another angle of attack as he is taking up behind this and working on his third.
Yeah, I mean, 3 Immortals is a terrifying army. Spatz has invested a lot in making his army very sturdy in the short term. So I think for Vindicta, he can just take this slow. He can take his time with this, just establish map control, and this army's going to depreciate as time goes on.
Yeah, exactly. As you were saying, Immortals are typically a very safe unit if you expect your opponent to kind of be hyper-aggressive and even all-in. But as the game goes on, you know, they aren't the most useful of units in your main army. So Vindicta, there's not too much pressure on him to get any damage done. He's just, you know, skirting around, kind of poking and prodding whenever he can. Ooh, as Spatz is moving out.
Yeah, I love all these spotters out on the map of Vindicta as well, whether it be mines, single marines. Oh, he sees that the army is out of position. He's going to dive straight on into the natural. He might be able to take out both of these robots. That would be huge. That completely destroys the transition of Spatz. Oh, that's just brilliant there.
Oh, it really is. Meanwhile, we do have a drop slipping into the main base. It is going to be shut down, but Vindicta, he's going to be able to get out of here. There just aren't enough Blink Stalkers to punish him.
Yeah, great moves there from Vindicta. Can even unload up here in the top. Does unfortunately lose one of those medevacs, but as long as he can just wait till that boost is ready, he should be okay. We do have a blink going down. We see the army coming across. Ghosts are on the way as well to deal with the High Templar. It's going to be a tight hold here for Vindicta.
Yeah, I love that Vindicta, he scanned, he saw the army going for a counterattack, so he goes back in with his triple drop. He does force the all-in, and he's getting ready at his natural, but does he have enough at home to defend?
Oh, I love the SimCity. He's going to be backing everything off into that corner behind the tank, behind the bunker as well. Forces a recall. That's a huge deal here in this situation. He scans and sees it early as well, and there's only 2 Stalkers, so these medevacs are in no real danger.
Yeah, with that scan, as you were saying, he does confirm the low Stalker count. He knows he still has the freedom to go for the drop play. His third base is being denied, but he's done so much damage already. 17 probes going down, and now the ghosts have arrived.
Yeah, ghosts have arrived, so the High Templar is not going to be quite as scary, especially with Vikings in the air as well. I do think this is a lot of Vikings, considering that we've killed the Robo, so there's no Colossus, but that does mean that he'll be able to kill that Prism extremely quickly.
It really does, and I'm glad that Spatz got the hell out of there. I was about to say that his army is looking very vulnerable. It's not looking too threatening at all, at least not with the rest of, not without the rest of his charge ult. So he does back off, he does consolidate his forces, and now he's looking to go for another push. He has a lot of storms banked up. He has a lot of High Templar.
Yeah, that is a lot of High Templar. As we do see Vindicta going to be setting up here. I do think it's still on Spatz to get damage done here. He's on a very low probe count. To be fair, Vindicta on a pretty low worker count as well, but there we go. First few High Templar is going to be coming in. Prism goes down right away, and huge EMPs on the army of Spatz.
Yeah, every single High Templar does get caught in that EMP, which means no more storms are available. There is a disruptor, but only one Nova goes off, and it's going to be going down immediately.
Yeah, the splits are so very clean from Vindicta, and this army, this EMP'd army is going to absolutely melt.
And GG gets called. Vindicta will take game number 1 here in this best of 2 in a pretty convincing fashion. Again, very meticulous or very just calculated engagements from Vindicta. He never just overextended at every turn. He saw whenever there was an opening, whenever there wasn't as well, just respecting the position of Spatz.
Yeah, I do think that was the perfect way to play it out as well versus that mass charge immortal sort of army where he was just avoiding the head-on and catching Spatz out of position just because there's not that many Blink Stalkers to punish him if he does go for these big drop plays. So every time Spatz started to move out and moved into the center of the map, Vindicta had the vision to spot it and then moved in and backstabbed. And that was the key to winning here.
Yeah, it was so cool to see not just his like spotter units and his spotter marines, but also his scans as well. Like Vindicta's scans was so valuable. Every single time Spatz moved out, every single time he moved out of position, Vindicta, he saw it and he punished it time and time again.
That's right, and with that we are going to be having Gressfan as the next map, so it makes a lot of sense for Spatz, especially if he wants to play a similar style. It becomes a bit more difficult for the Terran to keep track of everything just because the map is so large and so wide. But yeah, at the same time, this is looking really good for Plat Heroes. I mean, they are on the verge of winning this already.
Yeah, and again, every win matters so much here for the Platinum Heroes. A little bit less so for their opposing team, but here we go. We're getting into game 2, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner for the Platinum Heroes, it is Vindicta.
And in the top left-hand corner of the map for Berserker eSports, this is Spatz.
Boy, the ace player of Berserker looking to fight back, looking to put a point on the board. Earlier, DIMAGA fell 2-0, and now Platinum Heroes are one game away from taking the 4-0.
Yeah, they are on the brink of a victory here. And yeah, come into this game on Grassfan. I don't think we're going to be seeing anything too wild coming out from Vindicta, especially with Spatz having a bit of reputation for some strange, aggressive sort of plays. I'd expect to see just the same sort of thing, a Reaper expand and more reactive play from Vindicta.
100%. You know, I think it's going to be more on Spatz to mix things up, less so on Vindicta, as he had a very solid game in that first map, and I'm sure he's going to want to try and replicate that success. Spatz has to try and take a different approach. If you remember, in game 1, he did go for a double gate opener or double blink stalker opener into that third base, a very economic opener. He may be looking to be more aggressive here on Grassfan instead.
Yeah, good point. He could look to get something a bit more aggressive going on. We haven't seen him play Stargate yet either, so there's the potential for that. I think Phoenix Charge a lot at the moment is a very strong style.
Oh, definitely. We have seen it get a little bit out of hand from time to time. Meanwhile, the SV does skirt around the edge of the natural base, does avoid the scout of that pylon. We have a bunker on the way behind the mineral line. For the time being, I believe it is unscouted, and the Reaper is making its way across the map.
Yeah, a little bit cheeky there. He's going to be getting that bunker down, and despite this being a call first and that Adept getting out quickly, if Spatz doesn't send a probe down to mine, he won't see this in time.
Yeah, exactly, and it looks like the bunker will complete. The Reaper is going to be able to get here in time as well. The Adept is looking to check, but again, the bunker is done, and the Adept does commit to the shade.
Yeah, I love that as well. Vindicta really selling it by staying on this pylon at the front here, and it looks like Spatz just going to ignore it and go across the map. So this is not a response to this that I see too often. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, we'll see if he can make this work, as with this bunker, we're going to be denying any kind of mining at the natural base of Spatz. The Adept across the map is looking to do some damage, and hey, he gets one SCV. He's going to get a second. He's going to be able to lay the natural base.
Ooh. Yeah, quite a lot of damage actually from this Adept, so I can see where he went for this. This is more than equalizing in damage.
It really is, as, you know, we do see Spatz maybe with a hindered economy, but at the same time, likewise, Vindicta also has the delayed natural base. With the help of this shield battery as well, this bunker is going to be going down. How good is the micro, by the way, as the SCV is being focused on, and it does fall!
Yeah, Vindicta a bit preoccupied across the map. He's going to be losing that, but still gets that Reaper up into the main base. Should be able to get that full scout off.
Yeah, exactly. He does now have confirmation of the Twilight Council opener, of the blink that's on the way as well. He knows that, okay, I don't have to worry about oracles or phoenixes. I know that we have a pretty similar opener to the last game.
Yeah, it looks exactly the same so far. And yeah, Vindicta likewise going for the same thing. Going to be sending out this Hellion nice and early. Does see the opportunity to take out this Adept, so should be able to get that done. Oh, it's going to be close. Yep.
Does get the Adept in the end. Meanwhile, we have additional gateways. That's the big difference here, is that Spatz is going up to 4 gateways with that blink, so he's going to be going for a much more aggressive build here in game 2.
I do worry a little bit as well for Vindicta, because he did go for that Adept instead of the Scout with the Hellion. He's going to have to send that back home, heal it up, and get it back there in time. But oh, okay, it's 4 gate with a TT follow-up. This is really cool. I've seen Max Packs do this before, and what this can do is the blink attack will be either strengthened or preceded by the DTs, and the DTs can kind of dive on those tanks and try to take them out before the detection is ready.
Yeah, we'll see if Spatz can bring this all together. I mean, I appreciate this is the kind of more of the Spatz that I know and love, a much more aggressive variation of Protoss, and this is going to be quite committed as a result. Like, you were talking about the potential for damage here for Spatz, but also, likewise, if it doesn't do damage, then Spatz is going to be in a rough position. For the time being, Vindicta is in the dark. He is unawares about the Invisible Man, but I believe he does have a Raven.
Yeah, there is a Raven. He's got to be really careful not to lose that to the Blink Stalkers here, because I don't think saving scans is going to be on his mind with that Raven there. Beautiful spotter Marine there. Catches this nice and early.
Yeah, exactly. Has spotted that army, and we do see the Stalkers trying to find their way into that base. They do blink on forward. The tank does get a lot of shots off.
Oh, beautifully positioned tanks, and oh, that's so much damage. This is really bad for Spatz.
Yeah, it really is, but at the same time, we have the DT slipping into the main base. SCVs are going down. There is no detection available. That tank in the main is exposed.
Yeah, the tank's in a lot of trouble. That's huge, and that's why this build can be so effective. It's so good for the Stalkers to have tanks being taken out.
Yeah, it really is, and as a result, he doesn't just lose the tank, he loses 7 SCVs, but I think for the most part, he is going to be able to stem the tide. He's going to be able to keep his 2 bases well defended here, at least after the initial push.
Yeah, that's right, and with that, we do see already Vindicta starting to transition out. Both players starting to transition out, but Spatz going for a very aggressive transition. Extra Immortals charges on the way, as well as those additional gates, and I think if he wanted to, he could go for a big 3-base timing as a follow-up.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like, there is a lot of potential here for Spatz for that follow-up. We do see him threatening the main base once again here with the Archons, has morphed them in from those DTs, and yeah, he's actually getting quite a bit here.
Yeah, this is really annoying to deal with. The tank is going to be getting into position to deal with this eventually, but we're losing a lot of mining time. Quite a few Marines and Marauders here and there as well. Spatz being so annoying with this.
Oh, we do have a disable, but alas, it does miss the Archon, so an Archon is going to be able to get in time and keep this base alive, but the Viking has arrived!
Oh, yeah, the Viking is going to put some damage on us. Not quite enough, unfortunately. Vindicta misclicking very slightly there. I think he might have been able to get it otherwise.
Yeah, we saw him actually shake his head there when once that Prism did escape, and yeah, Vindicta has had a pretty rough start here, all things considered. He does go for a scan, trying to get an eye on what has been going on. I believe Vindicta hasn't thrown down a 3rd CC.
Yeah, with that scan, probably just checking for a 4th gas, trying to see if there's going to be more aggression coming his way. And it looks like, oh, he does get the wrong read. This is a terrible time to move out. Spat's going to be pouncing right on top of him, and he is in huge trouble now.
Yeah, the tanks were caught unsieged. The bunker goes down before the repair can really go off as well, and Spatz is breaking on through. The Immortals are being focused down. The Bio Army not doing too bad for itself, but we have some Zealots coming in.
Yeah, it's not really going to matter. That buffer of SCVs is gone. The Zealots gets on top of the Bio. GG is called, and Spatz with a very creative, very aggressive build there. Going to be getting the first win on the board for Berserker.
GG, well played. I mean, Spatz, you know, he is the ace for Berserker for a reason. He does put that point on the board. He does fight back against Vindicta. Oh, and does keep his team still in this series. And now it's going to come down to the final best of 2 of the night. It's going to come down to DNS versus Mixu.
Yeah, there we go. And DNS has sort of become the ace player for the Platinum Heroes. I do think Vindicta as well has done extremely well when they've played him, but DNS has been playing the most and getting some very nice upset wins for the Platinum Heroes. And I've been very impressed with him so far in this tournament.
Yeah, like, as you were saying, you know, we haven't seen too... I think Vindicta's been fielded like twice or maybe 3 times at most this team league. And DNS is here pretty consistently. The Protoss lineup, I should say, Goblin, Shutdown, and DNS. And all of those 3 Protosses, it does feel like... Or DNS, I feel like he's impressed us the most. Like, he's been looking very strong, even amongst some of the favorite teams and favorite players. Like, DNS has been doing surprisingly well here in this team league.
Yeah, I agree. DNS has been looking very solid. He looked pretty solid as well at DreamHack. I believe he got into the knockout bracket himself as well. So very nice performance from him. And yeah, we can see it reflected in the score too. Wow, that's a pretty high score.
There you go. If you remember, it was Shadown that made it into knockout bracket.
Oh, Shadown. Okay.
Yeah.
Was it?
He
Oh,
if
yeah.
you remember, yeah, he beat Nightmare, I think, to advance on through.
I think he actually beat DNS as well. The Plat Heroes, Protosses, I get them all mixed up.
It's all good, Poppy. It's all good. Yeah. So I think this is going to be a pretty tough one here for Mixu. We got a lot of love here for Mixu. You know, he is one of the Mix boys. Does he have like a name for his people?
The Smooges.
Is that what he calls them? Is that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Well, yeah, Mixu is one of them, of course, and unfortunately, he's going to be facing off against the team of the head Smoger himself. But we'll see how he's able to perform here, especially on a map like Neo Humanity.
Yeah. Okay. Neo Humanity is a bit of a stylistic map. I do think it might not play into this so much. We haven't really seen Mixu really change things up too much in his play. He does play a pretty standard style.
Yeah, I agree. Which is why when I think about Neo Humanity, I mean, we've talked about the advantages before. It's like one or the other, right? You can be hyper greedy. You know, we can turtle up and tech into Hive Tech and rush into something like Lingbane Ultra or something like that. For example, we've seen Dark do that in ZVP, or you can go the other route and you can knock down the rocks and go for a big queen push across the map. I don't know if Mixu's really that kind of player. I mean, I'm ready to be proven wrong. I'm ready to see him maybe take some of the features of the map and use them to his advantage. But as you're saying, like typically that's not kind of the play style that he goes for.
Yeah, I feel like I have seen him do pretty heavy roach play. So if he was going to go for something like a 1-1, like a roach all in with queens, I think that could be effective. But yeah, DNS has just been a really solid player.
Oh yeah, exactly. I do think that coming into this, DNS is still going to be the favorite, and it's going to be on Mixu to slip him up. DNS has just been so solid, and I think we've spoken about this before, but it's not like there's anything that really stands out about DNS's play. It's not like he's like hyper like focused on like his micro or his macro or anything like that. It's just he's just so well rounded. He's just good at so much. So yeah, I love that we're getting some more DNS featured here tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Looks like Mixie's got a nice little diamond of a score hexagon. The mentality, it's strong.
It's quite strong, Poppy. It's big, it's long.
I'm gonna let that hang. I'm gonna let you think about what you've done, like.
Oh, I'm thinking about it. I'm still thinking about what we were talking about before. The eagle. It's such an image. It's crazy.
It is. It really is.
Oh god. But yeah, it looks like the players are just still setting up, just making sure that everything is working well. I think the other important thing to take note of as well, or the thing to bring up, is that it's great to see WTL return. We actually took a week hiatus. We didn't really get to talk about it, but because of ESL Masters Summer, because that was over the last weekend, WTL in a lot of tournaments actually did kind of give them some breathing room, or gave everyone the week off so they can focus on, of course, the big premier event in StarCraft. And now that it's done, now that the players have returned back home, we can get back to WTL.
Yeah, I kind of missed it for a week though, but yeah, we are going to be having it this week. There is a week's break next week as well, I believe.
Yeah, I'm sure it's for a reason. I don't know what. I don't know if anyone in the chat is aware of like maybe a major event going on next week, or maybe a holiday as well. I know that I think it was for Lunar New Year's or something. We also took some time off, and that did affect WTL. So yeah, I'm not too sure what's happening next week, or why the break is occurring. Oh, Home Story, of course, Home Story Cup.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ondario. Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go, Bobby. So yeah, because of Home Story Cup, we will be taking some time off here for World Team League as well next week. I can't believe back-to-back major events. I forgot that HC was a thing.
Yeah, it's always. I think we knew Home Story was going to be very close to.
By the way, a fun fact: some of the players actually are still in Europe. For example, I saw Trigger streaming for Rotterdam's place.
Yeah, I was watching that yesterday. Trigger at Roddy is now doing some fun stuff, some 2v1s and stuff like that with viewers. That's cool.
Speaking of cool, here we have him in the top left-hand corner, the Finnish Zerg, Mixu. And bottom right, we have DNS.
Yeah, bottom right for the Platinum Heroes, DNS.
There you go. Yeah, I remember. I was actually speaking to Eric in the lead up to ESL Master Summon. He was considering maybe flying himself to Sweden, and if he did, because it was so expensive, he would have to make it worth his while. He would have to stay and potentially stay for an extra week to play in like Home Story Cup as well. To try his luck there, like, and it sounds like maybe some other players were thinking the same thing just because of how close they are to each other.
Yeah, that sounds great.
But with that, we of course have our PVZ, and oh my god, Mixu is okay, never mind. I'm blind. I was very confused. He's going for a hatchcat spool. It's all good. It's all good. I was confused because I could see a hatchery in production, but I was looking at the bottom right because Mixu's on the bottom of the players, and I was like, "Why is there no hatchery? What's going on?" My brain was breaking. It was actually breaking in real life.
I got it. Proxy hatch, yeah.
But we have some standard openers, and hey, at least Mixu was able to take his natural. Let's go.
Yeah, natural has been allowed for DNS, actually scouting very late here, so going to be taking that extra eco, maybe knowing as well with the reputation of Mixu that it's pretty unlikely anything too crazy is going to be coming his way.
Definitely. Also, I now know why I didn't know when Home Story Cup was, and that's because we usually cast the qualifiers, and there were no qualifiers this time. I was just double checking. I was like, were there any? Did I just somehow miss? Did we miss casting the qualifiers? No, it's just like we're going old school, Poppy. It's pure invite.
It's alright. You can cast all the replays, like.
I will. I will, Poppy. I will. I already started. I think it was yesterday, 2 days ago. We started. Yesterday, I started the ESL. Yeah, the DreamHack replays. Yeah.
Very nice.
I'll make sure I cast every day, Poppy.
Okay, we're going to be having DNS open up things a little bit more aggressive. Doesn't go for the more standard Stargate opener. Instead, going to be going for a Twilight Council. So this could just be a straight up 4-gate Glaives here.
Yeah, DNS may be looking to test the middle of his opponent. So there we go. Glaives is now upon us, and we'll be keeping an eye on the production tab for how many gates get thrown down. 4 gates, of course, being the standard, but we could see a much more committed variation with 6 gates or even a Dark Shrine to accompany it as well. As for the time being, we haven't taken any additional gases.
Yeah, that's right. And for Mixu, he's going to be taking that front base as well. So he does have that rich gas available to him. Often we see this as a bit of a springboard for roach-based attacks. But looks like for now, he's just going to be opening things up pretty calmly.
Yeah, everything's looking pretty normal here from Mixu, outside of, I guess, his base layout, as he's taking the forward base as a launch pad here for his creep. Meanwhile, I believe he hasn't been able to really scout what's been going on. The first Stalker got a kill on the Overlord before it really got to see too much, and oh my god!
Okay, Patty Mac, is that you?
Yeah, he's doing his best Patty Mac impression, Poppy. It's gonna be 4-gate Glaives into double Stargate Phoenix, or it should be Phoenix if it's Patty.
Yeah, we have seen things like this before. I believe there's a Korean Protoss at DreamHack playing something like this. I want to say Creator or Classic. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, we have been seeing some stuff like this. I do think it's a very creative way to transition out instead of going for, say, a disruptor transition.
Yeah, exactly. As we do commit to the shade, and these adepts are going to be hunted down one after the other, but not without getting a couple of drone kills. Not a lot though. Only 3 workers going to be going down as we are transitioning into those phoenixes. Meanwhile, this is merely an imitation of Patty Mac because, of course, there are no DTs, unfortunately. Which means that it's we're going to have a bit of a harder time defending. If you remember, the goal of the DTs to accompany this is to protect you against a roach counterattack. Especially if you lose your initial adepts, you are kind of vulnerable to a ground-based push.
And also, it looks like Corsair DT, which is cool.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best part.
But yeah, so we are going to be having those Phoenix coming out with the +1 attack as well. I feel like Mixu did respond very strongly to this Glaives attack, which of course is the intention. He does eventually catch onto it, but not without making a lot of links. I mean, he's making good use of those links just to be out on the map, to deny this third, just keep an eye on everything that's happening. But at the same time, I do think that was a pretty successful start for DNS despite the lack of damage.
Yeah, for sure. He forced a reaction. He's keeping Mixu on a low worker count as well. It took a long time for Mixu to start droning just because he was afraid of continued adept harass. As we do have more roaches on the horizon. Third base finally on the way for DNS. It is a delayed third, bear that in mind. But as long as these adepts stay at home, these things shouldn't be able to force another cancel.
Yes, these Phoenix going to be coming on out here. So many Phoenix flying on out to put the hurt on these overlords, and it's gonna find quite a few of them.
Yeah, a lot of overlords are gonna be going down. Supply blocking Mixu. What's important is that this entire time Mixu hasn't had eyes on the Phoenixes. He didn't know about this transition. He didn't know what the hell DNS was doing, whether it was disruptors or Phoenixes or anything else, and as a result, a lot of damage is being done.
Yeah, a lot of drones going down. It looks like Mixu does feel like he needs to get some aggression going himself across the map. Catches out a lot of these glaive adepts, and suddenly there's not that much on the ground for DNS.
Yeah, this is what I was concerned about. Again, without the power of those DTs and without too much else on the ground, we are vulnerable, but at the same time, a lot of drones are falling. The adepts finally do get cleaned up, but the third base gets cancelled for a second time.
Yeah, third base going to be going down, and as much as these Phoenix can get the damage here, there's not too much sustained defense or I also feel like even if they do get a lot of damage, there's not really a way for him to stop the Zerg from just droning really hard after that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be difficult, especially if there is a lot of stack defense. I mean, for the time being, I think there's still only like 1 spore per base, so because of that, these Phoenixes, they dive back in and they're still going to be able to do a lot of damage. At the same time, Mixu sends a couple of links over to the third base location, and once again, he is denying the third of DNS.
Yeah, this third just doesn't really seem like it's going to be able to get up here. Mixu doing a really good job keeping the pressure on here, and DNS is just struggling to get enough on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Phoenixes are good, but are they good enough? We do have an infestation pit thrown down, so we can get into potentially investors from here if we so chose to. I'm curious what the plan is going to be, or just tech into a hive. Meanwhile, fourth base is on the way. I do think Mixu probably could have gotten this a little bit faster, but at least it is on the horizon.
Yeah, I would love to even see maybe a Void Ray or two made defensively. I think that would be kind of cool. But behind this, he is going to be going into charge +1, Colossus on the way as well. So there is that transition that we've been looking for, a way for him to convert damage into a big, strong push. But I still feel like he hasn't found that damage.
Yeah, this is a really weird game state because if you look at the work account of Mixu, he hasn't been droning too much. Like, he's been investing a lot into lings and roaches and even these infestors as well. So even though he's done a great job at keeping DNS on 2 bases, like, and he's been minimizing losses, like, he's still not in the best position himself.
Yeah, meanwhile for DNS, he's had good map control, but he hasn't really... It kind of doesn't feel like map control because he can't do anything with it.
Yeah. This is a really awkward game right now. It's
And the creep's getting pretty out of control as well. I mean, the one thing that the Phoenix can't really do, despite keeping units penned back, is deal with the creep.
Exactly. And the creep is, as you're saying, getting out of control as a result. But we are now getting into Colossus production. The first Colossi is, I think, about to finish up. we have Vipers on the way. Vipers are going to be a beautiful way here to really close things out as long as they're able to avoid those Phoenixes. It's kind of like that dynamic with the Ravens that we were talking about in PBT. If the Vipers can survive long enough to get those yoinks off onto those Colossi, then Mixu, he can take a fight.
Yeah, and I do think Fungal on the Phoenix will be absolutely devastating. So Mixu, he is building the perfect army for the situation.
Yeah, the army is going to be good for Mixu, but it's going to come down to the execution of the fight as well. Meanwhile, DNS, now that he has his third base up and running, we have a fourth base on the way as well, already being thrown down, and Mixu is going to be giving him the breathing room that DNS needs to get it up and running. Mixu just focusing on remaxing, on just building up his solid army.
Yeah, so we go. Ling's going to be putting pressure on the front there. The wall does stand strong, but DNS is still kind of struggling to find anything with these Phoenix. He is at least keeping Mixu penned back onto his creep, but yeah, as I was saying, I just don't even know that this is doing that much. Yeah,
like it's not threatening that much either. Like it just hasn't gotten as much economic damage as it maybe should have. You know, it didn't get out of control killing the queens. I do worry that they won't really have too much of a place in the big fight and they may end up being dead supply. We'll see as we're going to be able to pick off at least a couple of gas mining workers.
Yeah, a couple of workers going down. We do have the recall as the army starts to move out. The observer is going to be catching that out. Ooh, good at Nova going down on the Queens. Does give these Phoenix a little bit of a head start, but the fungal on the Phoenix is massive.
The fungal powerbomb combo as well. We have the yoinks on the Colossi as the Phoenixes cannot protect them. They cannot zone away these Vipers at all. Finally, the Vipers go down, but they already got the high-value targets that they wanted. One Disruptor did survive.
Yeah, gets the Vipers, does block off this ramp here, so should be able to pick up these Ravages and deal with this pretty effectively. Does Mixu have another end attacking on the other side? Yes, he does. The Ling's Bane's Ravage is going to be getting on top of this base. Every single probe should be going down here, and DNS being pulled apart by the attacks of Mixu.
Yeah, Mixu just all over his opponent right now. He's going to have to rebuild those Vipers, but outside of that, he's done such amazing damage. 32 workers went down. And not just that, but also remember the Colossus went down as well. We only have one Colossus and one Disruptor for DNS.
Yeah, one Colossus, one Disruptor as well, going to be on the way across the map. DNS kind of just has to send it with everything that he's got. The Disruptor is going to get sniped down as well. We do have that Infestor without too much energy, so if DNS can do it at any time, this is going to be that moment, but it just doesn't really feel like it's going to happen with all that supply tied up in Phoenixes.
Yeah, that was the moment, right? Mixu, he was in the middle of rebuilding, remaxing. He was the most vulnerable then and there. And DNS, he did trade well. He did get some damage, but it wasn't enough to break Mixu. And now Mixu can just reinforce, consolidate his army, and go for a second wave.
Yeah, Mixu going to be feeling pretty good about this game now. It's pretty much in the bag as we do have DNS just trying to get out a few extra Disruptors. And they could be a really good comeback tool for him here, but I just don't think it's too likely, especially with Vipers on the field.
Yeah, exactly. And we do still have those Phoenixes to zone away the Vipers, but the Phoenixes are one powerbomb away from all dying. They are all so battered and bruised. Oh no! As we have the Infestor waddling on in, taking the Disruptor, the Nova to the face, but that means that it's not available here to defend.
Yes, we do have... okay, there we go. The Disruptor does get yoinked in. Not going to be taken out, but I think it's low enough that it can't really commit to a shot there. And Archon getting yoinked as well, which is kind of funny. We're getting full commitment on the Colossus. Doesn't take it out. Wow, this was a very efficient fight for DNS.
Yeah, an overextension from Mixu. He wanted to try and take down that Colossus, but it did not work out. He did get the Disruptor, but the Colossus does stand strong. And now, once again, DNS is going to be able to go for this counterattack. And once again, Mixu is vulnerable.
It's a pretty scary moment. I mean, DNS has to be careful, take his time as well, not to lose all these Phoenix and Colossus to the Spore. That Colossus is actually in a bit of trouble there.
Yeah, exactly. As we do see the reinforcements are more than enough for Mixu. He chases this down. He catches the Archons. He's catching that Colossus. Finally, it will go down.
Yeah, Colossus goes down. These Zealots and Stalkers just aren't enough of them to be able to hold off the hordes of Zerg. And Mixu, he's going to be patient. He is going to back off from this base here, but it feels like he has done enough now.
He has done more than enough. DNS holding on by the skin of his teeth. I'll be honest, maybe we should send him some Patty Mac replays.
True, needs the
because,
DTs.
yeah, because like I appreciate the adept into Phoenix, but it does feel like he's missing a little bit of spice there. He's missing a little bit of that Patty Mac kind of influence, as we have seen Patty just, you know, refine that build maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Maybe.
Props to DNS for trying something a little bit different. I would be surprised.
Oh
to
my
see him
God.
again. Oh, mining out the back of the base here. That's so cool.
That's something you don't get to see too often. Mixu mining out those gold minerals. We have it. Bailey's rolling in. He is. He's having some fun. As DNS is knocked down to 3 bases, struggling to hold on for dear life. And hey, he does have a couple of these high-tech units. Like he's able to survive a little bit longer here. But again, there's just nothing threatening Mixu. He's just taking more bases, just remaxing.
Yeah, that's right. Mixu is kind of just getting to do whatever he wants now, showing off his skill and setting up all of these different attacks.
Yeah, exactly. As eventually that those gold minerals will be opened up. We do see DNS going on once again for another push through the center of the map. The Spores actually doing so much damage to that one Colossus, almost bringing it down and buying so much time for reinforcements.
Yeah, that Colossus is very low. We do have 2 Colossus, so it's not nothing here. Mixu does have to be careful.
Yeah, he has to be careful. He has to have a very delicate engagement here with the Protoss army. At the same time, we have another Lingbane run by. The Banelings won't be able to get into the mineral line, so DNS will be able to protect that for the time being. But now, the wall has been opened.
Yeah, the wall is open. Disruptor going to be going out, trying to zone out this army, but Mixu, he has the Vipers. He is being patient. Takes out that Colossus as well, and the Roaches should be able to finish off the rest of what is on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. There's just too much on the ground for the Zerg player. We take down the Archons, the Immortals, the Colossi as well. GG gets called, and Mixu fights back for his team, taking game number 1.
Yeah, there we go. So Mixu getting the win there. Looking pretty happy about that one. And suddenly it is looking a bit closer. Berserker with 2 games in a row, and they could be looking to tie things up.
Definitely. They are Mixu 1 game away here from forcing the ace match, which is something that I don't think we really expected. I think we came into this expecting DNS to be the clear favorite, but we also weren't anticipating DNS to go for something crazy the way that he did. Maybe experimenting a little bit, going for 4-gate Glaive Adept, skipping the Robo, and going for a double Phoenix production. Crazy.
Yeah, I kind of would have liked to see him maybe just commit to the Glaives there.
Yeah, maybe that could have served him a little bit better. We saw that the Phoenixes left much to be desired. I mean, a shout out to Mixu as well for recognizing the weakness in that build, and the weakness was that we saw DNS maybe being a little bit too careless with a lot of his adepts, which meant that he was lacking a ground army. And time again, Mixu was just denying that 3rd base, keeping DNS on a 2-base economy, and he just, he couldn't get his 3rd up and running for quite some time.
Kept him on a leash. That's what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah.
That woke you up.
I don't know how that's what I was saying, but okay, Papi, I'm on board.
He wouldn't let him have a 4th. He was just trapped.
Yeah, he was tied up.
As in the bottom right-hand corner of the map for the Platinum Heroes, this is DNS.
And spawning at the top left-hand corner of Grasshopper for Berserker eSports. Up in this series, it is Mixu.
And he liked it. That's what the DNS stands for. Did not struggle.
Oh my god. Asher, can you calm down? Oh my god. I don't know what set you off here towards the end, but you went for it, Papi. You just... Oh.
As we do have. The unnatural natural, being forced.
Being forced? It's slipping out.
I don't mean that.
Being forced?
Yeah.
Oh god. Yeah. There you go. Oh, it's it's nearing the end of the broadcast. It's getting late. The full moon is out. The transformation. You're an animal, Poppy. You're not. That's all I'm trying to say. Oh, you're turning on us. You're becoming primal.
A lion.
Oh god, let's go. As we are getting into our second game, and what we saw from DNS in game 1, I don't think we really expect to see that again, to be honest. It was a lot of fun, don't get us wrong, but yeah, I expect to be seeing something a little bit more standard here in game 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think especially on a map like Grassfan, he did pick out Grassfan himself as well, and this is a map where you've got a lot of room to work with. You do often see more standard styles on this map just because it's just got a good balance of good places to fight, nice defensible bases so you can get up into that 4 and 5 base set up pretty easily. And I do expect you to see probably just that standard Oracle style coming out from DNS, but no, he's going to be throwing down a Twilight again.
Mate, there's no way. Now, this should be for 4-gate Glaive Adepts, but a more standard 4-gate Glaive Adept setup this time, right? There's no way he goes for a Stargate again, right?
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to be seeing Glaives probably. I do think that maybe just fully committing to something like a 6-gate Glaives could be pretty nice here. Or, I mean, the transition that we do see a little bit more often from Glaives is into a Robo Bay and going for disruptor drops.
Yeah, well, we already see a Robo thrown down here, so this is not going to be the same build that we saw last game, as the Robo was skipped in game number 1 for DNS. So this is looking to be like a Dark Shrine instead. There was no Glaives, a DT opener from our Protoss. Let's go.
Yeah, okay. This is very out of meta, but I think it can be a very strong style still. It's more of a tempo-based style where basically this is going to put the Zerg on the back foot. There's a lot of different kind of checkpoints along the way where you can get damage, whether it be the DT drop, the Archon drop follow-up, or if the Archon drop is getting good amounts of damage, you can even go for a big warp-in of Zealots and try to get more damage that way. So there's a lot of different spots where this can start to affect the game, but on top of that, it can hide what you're teching into behind it.
Oh yeah, it can keep your opponent in the dark for quite some time. We do have DNS going for a Roach War in a pretty reasonable time. He's aware of at least a Twilight Council opener. He hasn't seen too much else, but he does have some patrolling Lings looking to get an eye on that Prism as the Adepts are moving on out, and I believe the Prism was not scouted.
I really like this as well. I've seen this. I've seen Australia do this before as well, moving out with a Prism and 4 Adepts just to fake that the Glaives timing is hitting now. And yeah, you can see Mixu is buying it. He's making a massive swell of Lings right here, and this is not the timing. I mean, the timing is this DT attack here, and is Mixu going to be prepared for this at all?
Yeah, he has a Spore at his 3rd base. There we go. We have a Spore at the natural as well. He has taken some precautions. Of course, there is no mobile detection available, but he does have detection for said DTs.
Oh. Yeah, the DT's getting towards that. Oh my god, the Lings just melt between those Adepts and the DTs. So many of those going down. One DT is going to be taken out, unfortunately.
Yeah, but for the most part, Mixu has held. He has lost very little workers, if any. Or even gets a kill on the Stalker across the map. And now Mixu has the map control. We have the lair on the way to get into that mobile detection. The Lings are moving out to try and punish that 3rd.
Yeah, I love it as well. Just shuffling that Spore forward. And Mixu looking fantastic in this game. We could actually be seeing an ace game here.
We could. I mean, this DT opener just hasn't worked out well for DNS at all. He was trying to catch Mixu with his pants down, but no, they were up. Mixu was ready for it. Lings even threatening that Stalker once again. There is no shield battery behind this, and that 3rd base is under threat.
Yeah, I can see a big sigh from DNS. He knows he's not in the best spot here, and coming back with the Archon and the DT. I mean, I was talking about it before. This is such a tempo-based opener, and being forced to pull back just to prevent your 3rd from going down, not where you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. It is not. Oh, again, DNS, he's just not in a good position at all. He has to try to bring him back in some way. The Archon drop can still get value. You know, we can pick off Overlords, we can pick off Queens, we can get drone damage. There is a lot of potential with this, but it is so delayed that Mixu has had so much time to prepare for this.
Yeah, exactly. So for now, it's just going to be clearing out a little bit of creep. I mean, this Spore in the middle is positioned so well, makes it very difficult for anything to happen there, as yeah, the Queen's just going to be respreading that creep right away.
Yeah, the creep is being respread. The drop being deflected time and time again. We do see him maybe threatening a drop in towards the main, and Mixu is going to have to split up his army here to try and make sure that this doesn't get out of hand. And yeah, at every turn, we have Roaches, we have Queens in position.
Yeah, so the Roach is going to be pushing this away, the Queens as well. This base on the right here looks a little exposed.
Yeah, it definitely does. So Mixu has to be a little bit careful about that, but the Queens are once again in a position, and for the most part, these Archons haven't done too much damage, but it looks like DNS is going to be reinforcing instead. Lings do somehow slip into the main base. Not going to be doing too much damage, though, as DNS is focusing on his main attack.
Yeah, DNS is going to be focusing on the attack. We have the Stalkers, we have the Archons at the front here. He's going to be trying to make this work trying to make this work right here, right now, but it looks like Mixu just has enough. I mean, that early game went so well for him. Mixu playing really great today.
Oh, he really is. The army gets swatted away. We're pushing up a creep, which is maybe a little bit too much. And yeah, there we go. Mixu, he is going to have to pull back. He wants that Archon, though.
Oh, the Archon going to get that hot pickup from the Prism, but the Prism goes down. DNS is going to be trying to punish this overextension from Mixu, but I think with the economy that Mixu has behind this, he should be okay.
Yeah, it was a costly trade for Mixu, but with the death of that Prism, that is the death of this push. That means no more reinforcements are coming out. The Archon goes down. There is no hot pickup, and we do see DNS being forced back. Did cost Mixu a lot, but I mean, his economy is looking solid behind us. Like, he can afford this.
Yeah, I mean, trading Roaches for Stalkers, you're never going to mind that as the Zerg. DNS is looking to continue this, to snowball this. It's pretty awkward to do without the Prism to reinforce a little bit closer.
Yeah, exactly. And we do see, once again, DNS trying to punish this overextension. We have one Roach going down, maybe a second as well. Mixu has to take a moment here to breathe, as there we go. We have a couple of Lings to reinforce to help buffer. And oh, we see Mixu now going to be the aggressor. Now DNS has to try and hold on to his own bases.
Yeah, we do have a battery in position here, so we should be okay over here at this base. A few Roaches and Lings being caught out a little here, so... Oh yeah, and they just set up the multi-prong. Wow, Mixu is just controlling these attacks so well. I love the way that every time he's hitting one side, he's also got something on the other side, taking out those probes. It's making it impossible for DNS to get comfortable on his bases.
Yeah, but the defensive DTs do force back the army of Mixu. Without them, it's possible that Mixu could have dealt a little bit more damage at that fourth base. He is being forced back. We do have Overlord speed on the way, so we can actually incorporate some mobile detection with his army. And now DNS has some breathing room to actually establish his fourth base. He's even going for some DT harass.
Yeah, DNS having the presence of mind to continue mixing in this DT harass, and oh, he will be able to get away from that Spore as well. Really nicely done. That brings back so much of this army.
Yeah, exactly. At the same time, we have a Zealorama here at the fifth base as well. Not too much damage is being done, but we are keeping Mixu back at home, just making sure that DNS is able to get his four bases up and running.
Yeah, misses a pickup on that DT unfortunately. But DNS has actually done a really fantastic job of getting back map control. Mixu was so oppressive on the map, and DNS was getting pinned back into his bases, and with those moves he saves it, but oh no!
Oh, we do see DNS does pull back in time. +2 is not done, and only 2 probes go down. That could have been so much worse.
Yeah, that really could have. He's going to be a little bit out of position for this Roach run by, unfortunately, just trying to prepare himself for the next attack that is in fact coming in.
Yeah, at the same time, we have the Disruptors. The Novas are going to be sent off. The decent connections overall, but the Banelings are rolling back in, and this fourth base is forfeit. There are so many Banelings!
Yeah, I mean, Mixu is just able to convert that lead that he had in the economy to this massive army lead. All the Banelings crashing on in, 34 probes going down, and suddenly we're in that same position for DNS where he has an army, but not probes. He has to try to make something happen now.
Yeah, he's forcing DNS all in. He has to go for this counterattack. He has a pretty strong army, especially with those disruptors. He has a lot of potential in this push, but this is his only push. And Mixu, you can see him stretching his neck there. He's getting ready for it.
Yeah, he is preparing for this to come on in because he knows that he has all but won this game. He just needs to survive this one last attack.
Yeah, exactly. It's all or nothing for DNS. The first Nova goes off, connects with a Queen of all things. The Lings are getting ready for a wraparound as well as another Nova goes off.
Yeah, the Queens get the wraparound. They get on top of the Disruptor. The Disruptor almost goes down. Doesn't quite, but the Baneling's going to be getting on top of everything. The Banelings hunt down the Disruptors, and looks like Mixu is going to be able to push this back, and with that, should be able to take down the 2-0 over DNS.
Yeah, exactly. DNS loses all of his high-tech units. Only Stalker survive. GG gets called, and Mixu does it. He forces the ace match.
GG, what a fantastic performance there by Mixu. Gets the 2-0 in a match where he was far from the favored player, and yeah, now we get an ace match. I was not expecting this.
I wasn't either. Like, coming into this, I was like, yo, DNS, he's got this in the bag, no problem whatsoever. But with these more aggressive, unorthodox builds here, Mixu was able to survive the early game, to make it into the mid game in a decent position, and just punish DNS time and time again with these run bys, with these counterattacks. Really well done by Mixu. Really well done.
Yeah, great stuff there. And with that, we are going to be getting an ace match. So, what are you thinking?
Oh god, this is a hard one. Oh god, this is a hard one.
My instinct is Goblin Spatz.
I think Spatz from Berserker, 100%. It has to be Spatz. Spatz for Berserker. For Platinum Heroes, I would have said maybe we still send out DNS in a PvP. Like, if they can predict Spatz, even though he lost 0-2, like, I don't think he's a bad choice.
Yeah, could be. Could be sending Migs out again.
Yeah, Migs, the Shaft himself. I mean, how could you say no to that? God. Yeah, I think for Platinum Heroes to have a lot more versatility with their pick. I think for Berserker eSports, less so. Like, even though Mixu had a really good showing, even though he 2-0'd, I think I think it would be risky to send him out again. Likewise with DIMAGA having a little bit less success, and the likelihood of DIMAGA going up against a Protoss player is a little bit higher as well. So I think Spatz has to be the choice for Berserker, right?
Or Goblin Mixu.
You're crazy. maybe. So you're settled on Goblin then. You're settled.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say a PvP. Yeah. Goblin versus Spatz. You sold me on it. You sold me.
Okay.
My heart says DNS versus Spatz, but I think Goblin would make the most sense here. You know, he's got the 2-0 under his belt. You know, he's out of all the players, he's the player to be likely not smoging right now, right? You know, the mental should be strong, should be feeling pretty good.
True. Yeah, do you think... Yeah, maybe, even though DNS might still be strong in PvP, that probably was a bit of a tilting series for him, so it would make sense to maybe bench him for the rest of it.
Yeah, I think so as well. I do. I can get behind that logic, but if you're in the chats, place your bets, you know, let us know who you think is going to be sent out as the ace players for these two teams. Who are we going to be seeing here face off against one another? We have a little bit of time here before the players, or before the teams lock it in. I'm sure right now they're kind of deciding amongst themselves who to send out and who's best for the job.
According to chat, we can send Cyril. I don't really understand how that works. Let's go.
Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. Goblin versus Cyril. I mean, it's possible. You know, I mean, Mixu and Cyril literally live next door to each other, so he just has to pop on over, and there you go. Problem solved.
I haven't seen 3-Point in a little while.
Yeah, I miss 3-Point. I miss him.
Because he's on Heroes.
Yeah, technically, he's on Heroes.
3-Point versus Mixu. Let's go.
3-Point in general, I love 3-Point so much. He's such a Chad. He's an animal.
You're an animal. You're an animal for liking him.
He's like the Gumiho of Zerg. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Okay. Yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah. Oh god. But yeah, we haven't casted 3-Point in a long time. I was concerned. You know who I casted recently? And I was happy to cast was Lunacy. Lunacy played in I think the most recent KSL, and I was like, oh my god, good to see you again. It's been a long time.
Yeah, he does play the weeklies sometimes, every now and then.
Yeah.
Always good to see.
For sure. It was Lunacy. I casted Farmy recently as well. I miss I miss your boy though. I miss Stephen Curry. Oh
yeah. I haven't seen him in a little bit. I like him. He's cool.
Yeah, it's great. Beautiful.
Oh,
but oh my god, they're crazy, Poppy. They're crazy. I understand the DNA. I said it before. I think they expected Spatz. I think they were trying to snipe the PvP. I think they wanted the PvP, so Plat Heroes, I think that's why they went for DNS.
They said Mixu again.
Mixu with the counter pick. The mind games from Berserker. They were like, mate, they're gonna send out a Protoss. Let's go, Poppy. Send out Mixu. They're crazy.
That's pretty cool. That's some cool game theory there as well.
Yeah, the mind games. Oh my god. And now I think Platinum Heroes are in some trouble. I don't know, Poppy. I don't know.
Yeah, can Mixu complete the 3-0 here? Because I'm going to be honest, as much as I do think of DNS as the stronger player, and I've seen DNS play some incredible games, those games didn't really look that close.
Yeah, to be fair, I would say that a lot of that also comes down to the openers. Like, we had two very aggressive openers from DNS, right? 2 Twilight Council openers, and they did not pay for themselves. They had a rough start, but here he is in the bottom right-hand corner for Platinum Heroes. It is DNS.
And in the top left-hand corner of the map for Berserker, he's been popping off. It is Mixu. You think they told him, all right, you can play, but you have to play normie builds, okay?
I think that has to be the criteria. Meanwhile, I don't know if you just saw, but Mixu just went for a 15-15. He got his natural on location. Mixu already winning the mental battle.
Yeah, once the natural, feeling confident here as well. You can kind of see it on the cam as well. He's looking pretty bright, pretty chipper.
Yeah.
As we do have DNS just, getting in here, getting a little bit of harassed on. I'm hoping to see a Stargate player this time.
Yeah. I'm 100% on board. I think DNS, he's been trying to mix things up. He's trying to be cheeky, maybe skill checking his opponent. Maybe DNS as well was overconfident in his best of 2 against Mixu. He's like, yeah, I'll just, I'll be aggressive. I'll get ahead early on, and I'll just clean up this fool. I'll just get a quick and easy win, and we can move on. I want to see some standard play out of him because we've seen it before, and he's damn good at it.
It's just in fighting games they call it the salty run back.
The run back?
Yeah, the salty run back. When you lose a few times in a row and you force them to rematch you, it's a salty run back.
Oh my god. Well, I thought it was like along the lines of like backpedaling. You're like forcing them to play normal. To respect you in a way. But
you have to
understand. Okay. Fair enough, Fafi. Fair enough. Oh god. So I'm really curious to see how these do, how they open up. And there it is. There's the Stargate.
Okay. We are excited, of course, to see DNS go for a bit more standard play here. Most likely going to be playing Oracles into Blink. Great map for it once again, especially with these little bridges that are on the side. I feel like these are just made for this sort of player where you can be out in the open pressuring this base, and then you can blink back to the choke where there's those little bridges just outside this dirt down towards the bottom right here. Can be a really good way to set up your attacks. And you also have this high ground over here where the camera is just moving above of, where you can maybe set up a pylon, set up some gateways or something like that on your side and start having that as a spring point for your attack. There's just a lot of options here.
Yeah, there are so many features of this map that can be taken advantage of here when it comes to an aggressive Protoss player with Blink Stalkers. But of course, we have to get there first. We have the Stargate opener into the Oracle, and that is that's kind of we're taking our first step in the right direction, but this could still be for a fast pilot council, so we're going to be keeping our eye on things to make sure that we go into a second Oracle from here, maybe even into a third Oracle, and we, just take up in the path of a standard PvZ.
Yeah, we see Mixu, he is feeling himself, he is on point here, going for that Evo block as well to try to prevent the damage there from any potential shade. So he's looking sharp here tonight.
100%. He's able to keep up here as things are pushing out across the map to try and get an eye on the would-be third. They do get confirmation the third is on the way. That his opponent did indeed go for a Stargate opener. That his opponent is playing standard.
Yeah, Mixu sees what he needs to see here, and I think he's definitely going to be extremely well versed in this situation. I mean, most Zerg players are, but Mixu likes to play quite standard as well, so this should be a pretty comfortable game state for him.
Oh yeah, really should be, as the Oracles are going to be dipping in between the bases. Spores were thrown down in the main and at the third base. The natural, do we have a spore there? We do, already done, so it looks like Mixu not cutting any corners, and as a result, DNS doesn't find any damage.
Yeah, the helmets are securely fastened one upon another. Love to see it.
Yeah, the head is hard. And we have that Roach Warren being thrown down at a pretty reasonable time as well. I believe that was around a 4-minute 40 Roach Warren, so pretty respectable time. Mixu not cutting any corners at all, making sure he is ready for the follow-up for the Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, Mixu playing this so safe here. As DNS going to be starting out with a little bit of a pressure with the Adepts and Oracles. I know MaxPax loves to do this. He really often does go for this 5 Adept move out here. And it's mostly just going to be to force a few units and clear out some creep.
Yeah, exactly. We're just kind of trying to temper the creep spread of Mixu, trying to make sure it doesn't get out of hand, it doesn't get out of control as we transition. There's that Twilight Council, there's the Forge, +1, and Blink again, as standard can be. And this is something that we've been lacking today. We haven't been seeing it as much from our Protoss players, but it's great that we see it here in the Ace match. It's great that DNS has recognize that, okay, I got to take this seriously. I got to play straight up here against this guy. Clearly, the other shenanigans just haven't been working.
Yeah, well, he does find a queen a little bit exposed. It should be able to get back in time to get transfused there. So quite a lot of energy being expended on the Oracles there. Behind this, DNS going to be throwing down a Robo Bay. So there is potential for maybe an early Robo Bay transition here. Or it's a, what do you call that? Robo Facility? Robo. Yeah. I just call it Robo.
It's a Robo. Yeah, it's a Robo. Yeah, no one says facility. It's awkward. Yeah, the Robo is on the way, as you were saying. The Bay soon to be on the horizon as well. There we go. The Bay is now thrown down alongside a second Robo. So we're going to be getting into double Colossus or double Disruptor production here. So DNS is actually going to be taking a much more passive approach. He's going to be focusing on just ramping up his Robo production instead and being less active with his Stalkers.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a big 3-base timing here, but as you're saying, it isn't going to be the Blink timing that we're used to seeing. It's going to be a bit of a later timing.
Exactly. As we just see these queens being pulled out of position a little bit here by these Oracles or Stalkers that are looking to maybe punish them as they are nearing to, or then kind of rearing their heads here on the right-hand side of the map. But the Lings are in position. A couple of stage traps are being thrown down behind this, though.
Yeah, so the trap's going to be used here, and we do have, this lovely choke here. You can see just how effective this is. Like, Mixu can't approach this.
He really cannot, but Mixu is setting up a bailing run by towards the south instead. He's trying to keep the attention of DNS on the front lines. The wall is thrown down, but immediately we have a re-wall. Oh.
Yeah, super clean warp in there.
Yeah, the Warpin does hold the line. The Lings are trying to do what they can, but no, DNS does hold beautifully at his natural. Is forced back on the right-hand side, but doesn't lose too many of his Stalkers.
Yeah, he should be able to get these back to the battery in time. So Mixu does push this back, but DNS looking reasonably secure in this game, far from ahead.
Yeah, but secure nonetheless, as the Colossi production is well underway. We have 2 on the horizon, and we should be hitting a timing with 4 Colossi with extended thermal lance. That is going to be a really big power spike here for DNS once he gets there. Until such a time, though, Mixu has map control. You know, he's saturating his bases, taking a 5th.
Yeah, and I do worry sometimes about this style, how it fares against very heavy commitment to roaches. I think it does a lot better if it's more heavy on the Ling Bane, so be interesting to see if Mixu can catch on to what he's seeing here and adapt to that as well. But it looks like he is going to be hitting his attack just about now, so this is where things could get a bit scary. Mixu's done such a good job of mixing up his attacks in 2 locations at once, and this is a difficult army to split up.
It really is. We do see a surround, and it looks like the 4th base of DNS will not get up and running. The Lings are able to force the denial. DNS was not able to foresee this attack and just wasn't in position.
Yeah, I have to say, DNS is really struggling to deal with Mixu.
Yeah, the harassment, the multi-prong aggression. I mean, earlier we saw a really cool move, right, where he was able to react in time when it came to protecting his natural. But outside of that, we do see even the pylon going down towards the end, and Mixu gets eyes on these Colossi.
Yeah, he sees the Colossus, so he will be able to prepare for that. We see an Infestation Pit going down pretty quickly. I think that will be to eventually go into Hive and get some Vipers.
Yeah, I imagine so. Vipers are a great way to shut this down. But the reality is that the Infestation Pit just finished, which means the Hive is just about to start. And before we get any Vipers, we're going to be able to be active here with these Colossi. But it looks like DNS is more concerned with expanding. It looks like he's more concerned with actually making sure he gets a 4th base up and running. So Mixu has time. Uh-oh.
Oh, and these probes are in trouble. It's going to be a bit of a drawback of having this gateway wall here, as there's nowhere for them to run.
There's nowhere to run, but the Balings all do detonate on the pylon and the shield battery, so not a lot of workers go down. Meanwhile, at the same time, the Colossi is looking exposed, and it looks like one of them may go down.
Yeah, one Colossus is going to be going down. We do have the Archons frontlining for these Banelings. Big biles here, and it looks like DNS might have been a bit distracted by something at the same time. And oh my goodness, is Mixu doing it? Is he going to break through? It's getting close, but no, there is enough here for DNS to push him back. This game remains in the balance.
Yeah, but that was well worth it. DNS was distracted because we had another run by hitting the 4th base, and once again, the 4th base is denied. Once again, DNS is stuck on 3 bases, and the main army took down 3 Colossi, and that means that DNS's counterattack is that much weaker.
Yeah, without those Colossus, he doesn't have that big timing that he's been working towards.
Yeah, exactly. We do see 2 more on the way. He's still stuck on 1 Colossus for the time being, and Mixu wants to try to punish that. Oh, he's going to be bleeding off some of these Lings, unfortunately, but only Lings are being thrown away. The Hive is on the horizon, and that Viper that you were talking about is going to soon be on the way. Not ready yet, but I believe there is going to be enough time here for Mixu to actually get them up and running.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a crucial timing, and as you were saying, taking out the Colossus there does give him the opportunity for a little bit of space before DNS's attack can hit. That's so important here. Looks like there might have been a Prism getting into the main. I think the Prism got taken out. No, actually, yes, it's hanging in the dead space, sir.
Yeah, it is hanging out in the dead space. So the Zealots, though, they do get cleaned up. Roach Rumba being set up here on the left-hand side. But DNS now has a wall up at his 4th base, so I think he's going to have an easier time defending. Mixu is just trying to force and engage, trying to force his opponent back home and keep him busy here at his own 4th.
Yeah, and Mixu once again going for these split attacks, diving on the probes. He's been so good with this all throughout this game, and it's just kept DNS on the back foot.
Oh, the hold position on the Lings in the middle line as well. 7 probes do go down. Not an amazing amount of damage, but damage nonetheless. Now the Hive has completed. I don't think we have any Vipers yet, but we can start them up as soon as Mixu does lose a couple of these Roaches.
Yeah, and we do have the Colossus. We do have 3 now. We have 3 of those out, so there's enough here to start to think about going for a push. But oh my goodness, look at the line of Banes. They're just going to be crashing through. They do not care about anything that stands in their way.
Yeah, exactly. The mineral line is going to be going down. There is no way out for these probes. At the same time, the main army going to be threatening the 3rd base. And again, DNS is struggling to survive, struggling to hold on. 2 Vipers are on the way, and once they come out, then Mixu can focus on the main fight. He can focus on those Colossi.
Yeah, we can see the chat as well asking, is this Serral that we're seeing right now? And it does feel like a Serral game where it's just constant waves of attack, left, right, until the Protoss eventually falls down. And DNS is just really struggling to hang on here when he would be liking to hit his own timing.
Yeah, to be fair, by the time Mixu gets energy on his Vipers, I think DNS may be looking to max out. Like, he's so close here. His army has been getting larger and larger over time. And Mixu's even getting ready for that, actually. He throws down a Spire, getting ready for even a potential Skytoss transition.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, DNS needs to find a way to make this work on 4 bases, but Mixu is anticipating that, as you're saying, already looking towards that.
Yeah, exactly. To be fair, the main army of DNS is still going to be quite threatening, especially with those High Templar. But we can see Mixu is getting ready for the fight. There was on a wall!
Oh.
No!
Yeah, the wall is open, so the one set of probes that hasn't been touched this whole game is going to get attacked here. This Colossus wandering forward a little bit. They've got to be careful. Obviously, there's a lot going on right now for DNS to deal with.
There really is, and the Vipers are hunting for those Colossi. It looks like, oh my god, they do overextend a little bit, and every single Viper goes down.
Yeah, Mixu may be snatching at this a little bit, does get caught out, not expecting DNS's army to be so far forward there, and suddenly DNS has a threatening counterattack, and oh, this is getting very interesting.
Yeah, Mixu's in a little bit of trouble here. DNS is pushing out across map with everything he has, and this is a very terrifying army. Mixu has to respect it. He needs to buy time to remax, rebuild, and then carefully engage.
Yeah, this is a really scary moment here. He is bringing those spines to the front. The Colossus stands strong. The Archon's front lining for the Banelings as well, and DNS might have been able to pull this one back. It's going to be so close.
Yeah, that's a lot of Archons. We see Lings doing a lot of damage across the map. That's nice and all, but, I mean, we can't deal with the main army. The Archons are forcing their way through. The Colossi raining down from the back line as well, and again, there is no answer to this.
The supply is still neck and neck, but the sheer volume of what DNS has, the bulk of it, the critical mass, is just something that I don't think Mix is going to be able to deal with. And yeah, DNS recognizes that he's going to shove right into this natural and use that natural choke as well. Yeah. GG is called. My goodness, what a game.
GG, well played. One mistake is all it takes, and Mixu losing all of his Vipers. He had 3 Vipers, and they went down basically for free. They didn't get anything for themselves. They threw down some blinding clouds, like in a panic, but that was all they could do. And with the death of those Vipers, there was no answer to that just robust death ball of a Protoss army.
Yeah, pretty sad to see that, actually. I mean, I was kind of going for Platinum Heroes going into this one, but man, Mixu was doing everything right. He was keeping the economy down on the 4th and the 3rd, finally broke into that natural with a Ling run by. It seemed like he found the one moment where it was all going to end in his favor, and then yeah, DNS just a bit further forward than he was expecting, and he kind of panicked a little bit, lost the Vipers, and that's all it took.
Yeah, we see it happen a lot on Neo Humanity, and we see it happen sometimes here as well on Dragon Scales, where because the map is relatively small compared to some of these other maps, then mistakes like that can be really punishing. You can just have a massive counterattack in your critical bases in a matter of seconds. And yeah, we just saw how hard Mixu was punished for his mistake, and at the same time, a shout out to DNS because he capitalized on it very well. That was like the moment for him to win that game. If he had waited any longer, then I don't know if he would have been able to bring it back. Yeah,
and great patience up until that point as well. Just overall, really great game out of the 2 of these players.
Oh yeah, definitely. And with that, GG, well played. Congratulations to Berserker eSports for winning this series, and my condolences to Platinum Heroes. They did put on a really good showing. It almost went oh wait, sorry, the other way around. I keep thinking that Mixu is with Migs in my mind. Shout out to the Platinum Heroes for winning this series. Honestly, a pretty crucial match because we were talking about it. We were talking about how important these last weeks are for them to actually have a deep run to make it to the playoffs, and this was their first step.
Yeah, and it was rocky, and they're not going to get full points for it because I did go to the Ace game, but a win's a win, and yeah, as you were saying, if they can get 3 wins here in these last 3 games, they absolutely could get into that top 7. The one that I've got my eyes on is not next week's, but the week after that. We have them coming up against Shopify Rebellion, which is one of the other 3 teams. That's 3 and 5 here. That's going to be an absolutely crucial match. That's a really exciting game that's going to be down that pipeline.
Oh yeah, it really is. It really is. I mean, every single game moving forward is that much more important. But as you were saying, like Platinum Heroes are going up against Starlight Twinkle. They're going up against Shopify Rebellion. I wish them the best here. I definitely wish them the best. We're a little bit biased. You know, we have a couple of eggs in the basket of Platinum Heroes. We're big fans of a lot of their players. But
you know they have eggs too.
True. Ay, el huevito, papi, el huevito. Oh, God. So, yeah, wish them the best here, as that does round us up for the night. 2 matches in the books, and we're going to have some more WTL tomorrow.
Beautiful, great stuff. Really fantastic games, especially those last few. Mixu really popping off there. Almost taking the 3-0 in the best of 3. Let's go.
Almost, Papi, almost. With that, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. We realized early on as well, I think we were the only English cast for today. Yeah, it seems like maybe some of the other casters were a little bit busy here, or maybe still traveling, maybe still jet lagged from their time in Sweden, from their time, of course, in ESL Masters Summer. So yeah, I'm sure we're going to be seeing them return, though. I'm sure Wardy and Roddy will be coming back in the coming days, as this is a 3-day event. Every week, we have 3 days straight of WTL action. And yeah, if you want some more CranKy Ducklings, we're going to be live again tomorrow for day 2 of World Team.
Yeah, that's right. Day 2 coming up, going to be Team Liquid playing against Dragon Kaiser Gaming and Onside against Systorm.
Ooh, let's go, Poppy. Let's go. Some juicy matchups ahead of us. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, Asher, why don't you let the people know a little bit more about yourself? Who are you? Who is that lovely cat that we're showing off? And where can we find more of you, Poppy?
That's Rufus. You can find him at my house. And you should bring tuna. He likes tuna. And he'll be your friend.
He likes Ryung.
Yeah, just give him a little sample, a little nibble, and he'll be friends with you. But as for me, I don't stream that much, but I stream every now and then. Sometimes it's Australian show matches, and sometimes it's just some Terran ladder games. So if you want to catch that, that's Twitch TV/AsherBro. And how about you, Light, seeing as you actually are a streamer?
Oh, a little bit. Yeah, you can follow me at light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. I do stream throughout the week whenever I can. I was actually streaming earlier today, just a short, small, cheeky ladder session, trying to make sure I don't get rusty, but it's not working out. So I do ladder whenever I can. We also play some Diablo 4 whenever we can as well. It's been a couple of days, but I'm sure the Diablo streams will be coming back soon, TM. This weekend we're a little bit busy just because of all the casts that we have to do, like World Team League and KSL and the Tenacious Turtle Tussle as well. So our weekend is very busy, but I'm sure next week we'll have some time for some personal streams. So follow me there if you're interested. Otherwise, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to follow more of the CranKy Ducklings, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. We are all over the place. All things CranKy Ducklings, except for TikTok. That's not. We're too old for TikTok.
Sometimes.
Some
Nish restreams us.
True. Yeah, shout out to Nish. He has restreamed us twice already, and he may restream us again. So maybe TikTok as well. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And we'll see you guys in less than 24 hours. We're going to be live in 11 hours with the Korean StarCraft League. So if you're interested in some Korean action, some Korean on Korean action, then we got you covered here on the CranKy Ducklings.
Hell yeah. Well, hope you guys had an awesome night with these games and enjoy the rest of your probably day for most of you.
Yeah, true. It's getting very late here.
Summer days.
Did you have?
I want to have
anything you want to say? Oh, you're gonna have me now?
Yeah, I'm gonna have some meagering now.
What? 1 a.m. ramen, Bobby. 1 a.m.
Yeah.
meagering. Let's go, Bobby. Let's
It tastes
go.
better
Oh.
at DJ hours.
Yeah. You know what? I'll join you.
All right, beautiful.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, bye.
Bye bye.